and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
If you're drunk,
blasted,
intoxicated,
ripped, plastered,
taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Get started tonight with your footy, but you get plenty of hoops as well. Game day for Level men's basketball. The women winners in the pit last night, but no bigger winner than what we saw in Storrs, Connecticut. A little history in women's basketball and basketball overall. Good morning to you and Merry Thursday. 'Tis your opening drive in your ear on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. How you living?
What it do?
All right. So it's a question that was answered. See, all right, I got it figured out. You know, I tried what you do. You know, the one ear off because I could never get it to fit. I did the broadcast the other week. I actually kind of liked it.
Oh yeah,
the one ear off. I have my own thing. Yeah, no, it's a little insider secret that I've watched you do for years. I kind of liked it. Hey, big game last night, ladies in the pit. It was 19-18. They were not playing South Carolina. Although on the radio coming in today, I'm like, I heard they beat South Carolina. So
how'd I miss that game?
It's not the defending national champions. But it's not, not quite New Mexico State, South Carolina State. They beat South Carolina State in the pit last night. Not Dog Staley.
A little bit different.
Yeah. 80-38, I think, was the number last night. 19-18 midway through the second period, and then they go on a what would that be? 61-20 run to end the game. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, there was a few moments there watching that first half. You're like, "Ooh, this is not supposed to look like this. What's going on?" And then whatever it was, focus, clicking back in gear. They outscore them 50-18 in the second half, and like, yeah, that's the game it's supposed to be before it gets difficult.
Yeah, and Gonzaga's coming in on Saturday and gets a little tougher as we go. So a good one out there last night. Lady Lobos win and tune-up. Is that a fair word?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, because here it comes with the Gonzagas and the Irvines, and it gets a lot tougher. This went down. This was the big sports news last night, and caught a little of the celebration. So Gino Auriemma, the longtime women's basketball coach at University of Connecticut, broke the NCAA all-time wins leader for a coach. When you talk about the greatest ever, with the Lombardis and the Woodens and the Belichicks, and he does have to be in there. And you can tell me it's women's basketball and somehow it's not the same, but I think you'd be wrong. 11 national titles, 23 Final Fours, 15 of them in the last 16 seasons. 6 undefeated seasons, separate win streaks of 98 and 111. I guess the argument would be, until relatively recently, women's basketball was not competitive at the top. And it wasn't. There were 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 programs who were at that level. But he created it. And it was, for a while it was USC, and Louisiana Tech was a power, and Tennessee. And he went in there and he has created that machine, that powerhouse, that legacy, that factory. So they had more than 60 former players there sell out. They beat Fairleigh Dickinson 85-41, and he became the winningest coach in the history of college basketball. It was a tie that he had with Tara Vanderveer, who retired in April as the women's coach at Stanford. So 1,217 wins, the most in NCAA history, women's or men's. Is that fair? Do you agree? Because, I don't know how you see it any differently. I guess I laid out how you would see it differently. When you're talking about the greatest coaches ever, right?
Deserves to be in the conversation for how long you're able to do it to reach those numbers. And you got to mention Tara Vanderveer, who had that. No, had that. I know, but I mean overall too in that discussion, who had that record and never got mentioned like that and then Gino passes her last night and
she should have.
Yes, because you look at that and it's, well, how did you build a power at Stanford and Connecticut? Because you had to start and then you had to maintain.
What was UConn? With all due respect, and this is why universities sponsor athletics. Would you know Connecticut had a university if it wasn't for their basketball programs? Like, honestly, you'd say, all right, I guess they got a university. Would you know it's in Storrs, Connecticut? Would you know anything about it if it wasn't for their basketball programs, plural, men's and women's? You wouldn't, right?
You would not.
Like you wouldn't know what a Gonzaga is or a Butler is or a Boise State is, right? This is why programs sponsor and try to be good at athletics. 40 years there in Storrs, Connecticut. And I think it says a lot with all the former players. And you know more former UConn players by name than you know any other school combined, right? I mean, like, you know more women's basketball players who are UConn players than you probably know, and not you, JJ, because you follow women's basketball, but your basic fan who dabbles or maybe catches a WNBA game. You know more UConn players than you do combined players from any other school by name. You do. This was really cool. 1,217 games that he's won. I don't know what's most impressive to you, and you can say yes and yes and yes. 11 national titles is pretty insane, right? 23 Final Fours is bonkers. 15 in the last 6. They've gone undefeated 6 times. Can I tell you the most impressive to me is the streaks? 2 winning streaks of almost 100, well, near 100, 98 and 111. 2 winning streaks, one of them 98 games and one of them 111. To me, that's the most impressive of all that. But all that is just in its own right. I mean, all standalone, 11 national titles, 23 Final Fours, 15 of the last 16 Final Fours, 6 undefeateds. The win streaks are bonkers to me.
Yeah, the winning streaks are insane. Anytime you're able to go on the run and support, and if it nears double digits in basketball, like, oh, this is really good. And yet you're talking like years in that respect, what you're able to do. And yes, it's the talent was better than everyone else because you were able to bring that talent together and do it on a consistent basis. And you said it. If people know anything about women's basketball, you start naming players and that went to UConn, and you've probably heard of them. Yeah. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and you're just like
Rebecca Lobo. I mean, pick your generation.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. And I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's insane. I almost spit out and I caught myself, and maybe I should just go. I mean, is he the greatest to ever do it? Oh, he's no Coach K. I mean, he kind of is. Well, he's no John Wooden. Yeah, he kind of is. And in fact, he created something in women's basketball, him and Tara Vanderveer, that hadn't been done before. Pat Summitt, well, that's not fair. Pat Summitt did it. Right? But he took, when we have these conversations about the elevation of women's basketball, so to me, the biggest reason women's basketball has taken off, I've got my opinion. What's the biggest reason in your mind women's basketball has taken off so much in the last, I would argue 5 years. But we can go 5 to 10.
I think it's the evolution in the talent of the players and people realizing that, all right, yeah, they're not dunking from the free throw line, but you see very talented players, ball handling, scoring ability, good post players with legit size for women's basketball, and the development of that, and then marquee teams, whether it was Pat Summitt, Gino Auriemma, Connecticut going on a streak, what South Carolina is doing. That for women's basketball is good. I know everyone screams about parity and this or that, and that's
LSU.
Still where it might lack the depth at times
it does.
In women's sports, but all of a sudden, when you're watching the NCAA women's basketball tournament now, it's deeper because the talent has grown.
So I agree with all those. To me, the number one reason is exposure. Is exposure, what you consider to be legitimate sports outlets. And ESPN has put a big emphasis on women's sports. But so is CBS and NBC, right? And Fox. And the exposure. And people have said, wow, I kind of like the product. Wow, I like, and to your point, the development of players, the depth of the field has gotten better. Caitlin Clark is the biggest reason. I mean, the single biggest reason. But would you know about Caitlin Clark if she wasn't on ESPN all the time or Fox Sports?
She did it at Iowa.
At Iowa. Yeah, and he's done it in Storrs, Connecticut. And we had this conversation when UConn won the men's championship again. They're a blue blood. They're a power. They're a power in the last 30 years. Jim Calhoun went in there and did what Gino's done. They weren't before that. They weren't a historical Kentucky, UCLA, Indiana type power. They weren't. But what these guys did is amazing. So hats off to Gino and his coaching staff. He's got, his longtime assistant who's been with him for 40 years, Chris Daly. 40 years. Can you imagine? Dave Bliss had Doug Ash for all those years. It feels like Steve Alford's got Craig Neal for most of his years. There's something to be said about all these great coaches and having their solid number two for 20, 30, 40 years.
No question. Having that person that you can lean on that takes a lot of the coaching duties, I'm sure, at this point in time, off your plate and being able to have that consistency.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. That's how to get to us today. Emails this morning, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com and JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. We already got yelled at on the gripe line. Can I just call the text line the gripe line? For Bob Clark doing something, he yelled at us for something that was on the other radio station. But emails and text at 505-246-0610. Adrian's producing on the ProView Network side. That's Comcast or Xfinity Channel 26. On our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, you can watch the show at those places. Coming up today at 8:30, looking forward to having a conversation with Jerry Palm from CBS Sports. We'll get into the latest college football playoff poll or rankings. And, again, rankings are different than the bracket. We explained that yesterday. Show your work. Show your algebra. It's the best analogy you've heard, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll offer that to someone. But we'll do that coming up at 8:30 this morning. Hey, you're shopping for gifts, right? You're shopping for that perfect gift for her for the holidays, maybe even an engagement ring, whether you're doing it locally or online. There's only one store that can offer you everything that John Thomas Jewelers does, and it's John Thomas Jewelers. They've got over 3,000 ladies and men's bridal rings that's right there on hand. You can try it on. They've got the only free lifetime nationwide warranty in Albuquerque. And somebody asked me about that. What does that mean? And John explained it to me. They are affiliated with jewelers around the country, nationwide, and it's a lifetime warranty. So if you buy something here and you end up moving to St. Louis or New York or Philadelphia, or wherever, you can find a jeweler that will service what John has created for you. They've got the ability to custom make any ring you can dream of, and I watched them do it. It's all done right there in their on-site design center, right on premises. So whether you're looking for an engagement ring to wow her with maybe an anniversary gift, or obviously the holidays are coming up, you've got to stop in at John Thomas Jewelers. They're the only 5-star Google-rated full-service jewelry store in town, fastest-growing jeweler in New Mexico for 3 straight years, and voted the best jeweler in Albuquerque for 4 straight years, even voted the coolest jewelry store by In-Store Magazine. So there's so many reasons to go see for yourself why John Thomas Jewelers is the best jeweler in Albuquerque. Where are they? On Louisiana. 1 block south of Manal on the 3rd floor of the Lewis University building, right across the street to the east from the mall. 2440 Louisiana Northeast, Suite 310. It's up there on the 3rd floor. Go see John. You're going to find exactly what you want. And if not, you're going to create exactly what you want right there on premises. It's John Thomas Jewelers at johnthomasjewelers.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Big game tonight out at the pit. They're all big, aren't they? Rambling in town. Lobo men's basketball. We'll hear from Richard Pitino from his press conference coming up in a little bit. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Tonight here on The Sports Animal, you get the National Football League. AFC North. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Easy game, right? Not so fast, my friends. What is happening? 505-246-0610. All right, so Pittsburgh's a 3.5-point favorite. Too much against Cleveland in that division? That division's always tight. That division is grind them out. The Steelers win games 18-15. I mean, the Steelers are 8-2. They've won 5 in a row. They win 18-15. They win 28-27, 26-18. 20-17, 13-6, 18-10. And JJ, I was listening to something yesterday, and I caught it perfectly, and I couldn't find the number. But I guess the Browns, if you like the trends, the Browns are the bet against the Steelers getting 3.5 because the Browns tend to beat the Steelers so often. Now, you look at this and say, all right, I'm not into trends. I'm looking at one team's good and one team's not. But we kind of played the trends on the Steelers last week, or at least one of us did, right?
Your initial reaction is like, no way.
Right?
But division game, even with Jameis Winston's short week, I could see it being close. But this is Jameis Winston throw 3 interceptions week.
Probably.
Because he came off a good game stats-wise against the Saints, and they still ran out the belt.
It's a big one, obviously, for the Steelers as they sit there at the top of the AFC North. But look, when we start talking about home field advantage, I know it's somewhat comical for you, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around it. But if they win tonight, they're tied with the Bills, and they're one game back of the Chiefs. And if the Chiefs slip up somewhere, and we've watched the Chiefs almost slip all season long and finally get clipped. My eyes don't tell me it, but I got to start believing the Steelers are the best team in the AFC North. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. It is a statement that is fair, and you have to make it. I understand Lamar Jackson, MVP, the explosiveness. You have a team in Pittsburgh that has a better defense that is finding ways to win. and is 2 games better than Baltimore right now.
All right, 505-246-0610. Tony, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Good morning, Tony.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How you living?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Hey, I have an off-the-wall question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a GOAT for bowl directors?
There probably is. Yeah, there probably is. I would have to go back and look at some of the history of some of the guys who built some of the, like the Rose Bowls and some of that stuff. Yeah, there probably is.
Well, I know how you can get on that list. I think you're great here, but I know how you can get on that list.
How's that?
I think New Mexico gets the wins in Hawaii next week.
Yeah.
You pull in New Mexico,
Yeah.
and then you pull in Vanderbilt.
Would that be something? Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you, Tony. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Would that put me at the top of the list?
Be fascinating.
It would. Vanderbilt obviously has got contracts with the SEC bowl games, and that's where we are in the current status right now. I mean, it's you got contracts with leagues in bowls, and boy, Vanderbilt coming here would be something. Lobos and Vandy, would you see some points?
You could see some points scored in that. Love to see that duel.
Yeah, I'd love that too. I've gotten so many calls about bowl games and potentials in the last few weeks. It's been and more so even in the last few days. It's been something else. We'll talk with Jerry Palm coming up at 8:30 about that. I want to finish off my thought here. In the AFC, when you tell me contenders, how far down the list, without going just by numbers, just your feel, okay? When you say, whether you say Chiefs and Bills or Bills and Chiefs and Ravens and whatever you say, how far down the list do you go before you say Steelers?
3.
So you got them at number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure I do, and maybe I should. You got them after the Bills and Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't know that I do, and I should.
I understand. It's Russell Wilson, and if you're playing this game of those quarterbacks and you start looking at who could be there, you have Justin Herbert, does somehow, some way Joe Burrow get hot and be a 7th seed, and you're going to lean to all those guys, but I'm looking, Steelers have the best defense of that group, one that is on par with Kansas City and could be playing better than Kansas City at times.
What do I got?
Trust the offense all that much, but this is a team that's just beat Baltimore. I think they can play with any of those other squads, and that's what you want, is a team that's going to have a chance against anyone that they play.
So right now, my playoffs, and it's almost kind of set. I mean, I think it's cute on Cincinnati, but they're 4-7. I just don't see it. I think their defense is horrible. Right now, it almost is kind of set. Do you see anybody? Buffalo's got a 3.5 game lead in the AFC East. They're 9-2. Second place is Miami at 4-6. Buffalo's winning that division, right?
Yes.
Okay. Steelers have a 1.5 game lead over Baltimore, and they got the tiebreaker. They're 8-2. Baltimore 7-4. I'll say Steelers are probably winning, but I'm not done there. Houston's winning the South, right? They're 7-4. Their nearest competitor is Indianapolis at 5-6. Everybody else is 2 wins. They're winning the South, right? And the Chiefs are winning the West, right? Next closest is the Chargers at 7-3. And then the wild cards are almost kind of set. It's the Chargers, Chargers, Baltimore, and Broncos. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. I think 7 is still up there.
So the Broncos are 6-5. They got a 2 game lead, right? The 1.5 games over Miami at 4-6. Bengals are 4-7.
Colts are 5-6.
The Colts 5. The Colts are 5. Okay, yeah, I missed the Colts. The Colts are 1 game back. I guess I got zero faith in the Colts. All right.
Colts Broncos December 15th.
Yeah, that's a big game. Yeah, it's a big game. If I said right now, would you bet these are your 7 teams? Would you take the bet? I would, 100%.
It is one where I would want to go the other way just because it's the NFL, and it feels like nothing is ever that simple or solidified, especially with as many games as we still have left to play.
In the NFC, it's Philly, Detroit, Atlanta, and Arizona, but you don't feel nearly as confident right now with those teams. And then it's Minnesota, Washington, and who's your other wild card? And Green Bay. Green Bay would be the second wild card. Minnesota, Green Bay, Washington. And then you got that whole NFC at 5-5, NFC West. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, 505-246-0610. Jerry Palm's going to be with us coming up at 8:30. I'll ask him how we can get Vanderbilt to play in this game. Want to make some calls? See what I can do?
Well, I think there's...
Is there a go to Boulder actors? I was wondering where it was going.
So many unbelievable storylines. That's worth a call.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action.
App in the Google Play or iTunes App Store. Just search KNML.
I needed a kicker. I took Seattle's kicker for the weekend, but that bomb cyclone up there, was that a bad move? The bomb cyclone and the rain and the weather on Saturday?
It lingers in the Sunday, yes.
But I only had, it was $1 kicker. I just got a problem. Bye-week receiver, Will Dissly or Wandale Wright, or Wandale Robinson Giants. With Tommy Cutlets throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm. Will Dissly has the quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think he was a 1 week wonder?
Is Tommy DeVito going to go in there and be able to feed Malik Neighbors?
See, that's my thing.
Wandale Robinson.
I don't think he feeds Malik Neighbors. I think he feeds underneath. That's where I go. I think he takes easy throws.
Then he'll go to Tracy.
Out of the backfield?
Mm-hmm. They're going to run. The dude averaged under 200 yards passing when he played. It's this story that everyone was like, yo, Tommy DeVito. It's like they did not have an explosive passing game with Tommy DeVito.
Did you see
And if you don't scheme targets for Malik Neighbors, then you're failing as a coach.
Yeah, but you got to have a quarterback who can get him the ball.
Yeah. So
and
Neighbors should be the first read, and it shouldn't be Wandale Robinson, and I don't trust him to get there.
Yeah, and your guy might be Drew Lock. Drew Lock was asked yesterday, you're the number 2 guy. Did you think, basically, hey, here's your shot. Take your rip at the organization. And he's like, yeah, a lot of those questions I still have to ask myself. And, I'm here when he needs me, and we're still friends. And Drew Lock said all the right things, but still said, what the hell am I doing here? Right? They paid me $5 million to come in and be the backup. I was the backup. They benched the starter, and they go to Tommy Cutlets. The answer, Drew, they don't want to win. Mm-hmm. They don't. I mean, how do you not understand that?
And they don't want to pay you any incentives you might hit by playing.
Yeah, I think his base is $5 million plus incentives, right? And so if you go out there and win games, and yes, 100% right. I thought he was really, really good in the answers. And you can sit here and say, well, of course he was. He had to be. No. Dudes are cranky at times like that. Guys, you put a mic in a guy's face, and sometimes, you get what they're really thinking. But I thought Drew Lock was really good with this. It's kind of crazy where the Giants are. Dexter Lawrence believes that Daniel Jones shouldn't have been benched. Dexter Lawrence is defensive lineman on that team. Quote, that's my best friend. It's tough for that to happen. I can't control it. They made the decision based on their evaluations, their thoughts, and their feelings. That's my boy. As a player, you got to keep playing as a human, and as a brother, I feel for him. Okay. Dable said it was a hard decision. I'm sure it's hard. He's QB1. To me, he's the best quarterback on our team. But they see things differently. I guess that's all that matters. Yes, that is all that matters. This is where you get into late November, early December. It gets cold. Your team's got 2 wins. You're a pro. You're in a mess of a situation, whether it's the Jets, the Giants, the Cowboys, pick it, right? I mean, it's got to be tough. What am I playing for? What am I going to work for? Well, you're going to work because you're a pro and you got to go out there and win every day, and you're playing for next year.
Yeah, and that's not always the case, but You hope it is as long as you can, just because you're getting paid to show up. But there's so many moving pieces, especially when you see if and the writing's on the wall for so many others in the organization, and then there's turnover and the balance between guys that know they're going to be around because they're good enough players, they have the contracts, versus the other players on the roster that have no idea where they're going to be next season.
Lawrence went on, because you don't know their full thoughts behind it, I think we trust the coaches and where they're going and where they think we can go. That's what you have to do. You have to be naive. That's insane. You start thinking about the wrong bleep, then you start playing like bleep. You know what I'm saying? You got to be naive and trust the process. That's an insane quote to me. Basically, you have to blindly trust what the coaches are saying. I'm not sure I've ever heard a player say that. Have you? You have to be naive.
No.
And that answers the question I just asked, right? How do you keep going? Well, you just got to, even though, man, I don't see it, I got to trust my coaches. I got to believe they're leading us in the right direction. I've got to believe that they know what they're doing and it's the right thing. And that's got to be tough, man, because these are all a bunch of strong-willed men, right? And, what are we doing? That one's tough. All right, emails, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com or JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Sarah said, saw in the paper this morning, Lady Lobos won. Scanning the box score, it looks like Bradbury had them under a good hold. Is that a fair assessment of the game, Jeff? I don't know. Ask JJ. Is that a fair assessment? Did Bradbury have them under a good hold? I'm not sure what it means either.
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what that means.
It was 19-18 midway through the second quarter. They ended up winning 80-38.
Was the game? Would they control the game? They did for 2.5 quarters. First quarter and a half, you're wondering what's happening. Why is it this sloppy? And then they've hit 5 of their final 6 shots to end the second quarter, lead by 10, and then outscore them 50-18 in the second half. And then that's the game you're expecting to see.
Yeah, I think, Sarah, maybe they just figured it out. They started hitting shots.
One of the things Coach did tell me a little bit, and he's been working out with the team. They kind of struggled with getting up for certain opponents. It's kind of been hit or miss. It's only 4 games into the season, but he said the team had a different energy. Started against Northern Arizona, Texas Tech, then they did against Morehead State, and then you got Western New Mexico and South Carolina State, and especially everyone's talking about it. And he said you start peeking ahead, and might have been a little bit of that, just coasting and getting caught with a bad first quarter.
Yeah, I think that's natural. You got some games that are bigger than others. They shouldn't be, but they are. They just are. They're if they're bigger to you as fans, they're going to be bigger to players too, right? Is it easier to get up for Gonzaga or Texas Tech than it is South Carolina State or even NAU who beat you? Yeah. I think that's just nature. So that happens. All right, 505-246-0610. You got an NFL team playing really well. And the message from the head coach is don't get soft. Kind of the harshest thing you can call a player, huh? Soft. Coach knows what he's talking about. We'll get into that when we get back. Hey, it's busy, right? Busy times, busy weather, family coming to town, holidays coming up on you, bowl season, everything else, finals, wherever you are in your life. Take care of your vehicle. It's one of your biggest investments. You're in it now, and it's messy, and it's dirty, and it's just get it clean and fresh. On the Spot Automotive Detailing. We'll do that for you. I recommend my friends at On the Spot Automotive Detailing. Best in the city because, they're best in the city. They take the time. They take the care. Your car looks and feels and smells brand new when they're done. The best part is they come to you. Wherever it works for you, whenever it works for you. You do not go somewhere, take your car, drop it off, sit in a waiting room, or get a ride. No, none of that. You're in your office. You're in your home. They're outside, and they are detailing your vehicle. When they're done, your car looks and feels and smells like the day you took it off the lot, like a brand new vehicle. You can have that brand new vehicle feel without the expense of a brand new vehicle. No need to leave the comfort of your home or work. Your car will be left feeling and smelling and looking brand new. Ask them about paint protection film. Ask them about window tint. They offer lifetime warranties, and it is a great gift for the holidays. On the Spot Automotive Detailing, you can book and buy. It's all right online. OTSdetailing.com. That is tsdetailing.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Let's do it right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Chargers are playing well. Their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, said that getting a little bit of taste of success can be a great motivator. But, JJ, And he went all the way back to Gary Moeller, the former Michigan coach, once said about when people are throwing accolades your way. Quote from Jim Harbaugh, when people are giving you accolades and compliments and telling you you've arrived, kick them in the shins. You kick them right in the shins. That's what you do. They're trying to make you soft. Kick them in the shins. That was his quote. I actually kind of like it. I kind of like it. Stop. It's another way. Don't read your headlines. Don't listen to your press. When we had Devin Dampier on yesterday, and I don't know how much. I know you had to go to something for your son. I thought it was
you
really
asked him
good,
about that,
right? About humility and staying humble. And I thought, he's listening to everything, and he says the right things, but I think he believes the right things. The Lobo quarterback. He talked about, it's not just me, and I can't pat myself on the back, and it's the team, and yeah, I think that's the right attitude. Chargers, to me, JJ, one of the biggest, if not the biggest surprises, and maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe this is, Jim Harbaugh, and this is that team that everybody thought was going to be really, really good, and then they weren't, and so you stopped the team that everybody told you there was so much talent, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, I look at who's leading divisions. You kind of expected everybody. Maybe Arizona's a bigger surprise to most people, right? But Arizona and the Chargers, are they the two biggest surprises to you in the NFL this year? On the positive side?
They would be on that top 3 list. Put the Commanders in there for being a team.
Yeah, Commanders, that's right.
That's been that good, even with losing the last 2 games. Before the Chargers, early in the season, there was a lot of hesitation because we didn't see a good offense. There was a gigantic question mark around Justin Herbert and the receivers and who's he going to be throwing to and how are they going to create explosive plays in the offense, because you liked what they were doing with Jim Harbaugh, and that was more physical football team, lean on the run game, and then you saw the process. They started opening up the offense as the season went on. You see that Justin Herbert's still that guy, talent-wise, been able to make plays downfield, getting their first-round pick last year, Quentin Johnson, involved as a playmaker. Ladd McConkey has been very good for him to lean on. And as the process has played out, you're like, oh, yeah, that is why everyone was excited. And you had to still give the Chargers a chance because they found a guy that just knows how to build and win.
Justin Herbert this week, Monday night at home against the Ravens, or Kyler Murray on the road, probably in the rain against the Seahawks?
Honestly, if it's that bad of conditions that are lingering where there's wind gusts and it's rainy and it's wet, probably going Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it's all even, which way are you going? Because it's been hard for this one. It's a nice problem to have. Don't get me wrong.
With Kyler, you're out. When Justin Herbert, they both give you enough in the run game. So maybe there's 30, 40 yards in the run game that you're getting. Probably would bet Kyler a little bit higher of a chance to score a rushing touchdown, but both have been really efficient in the passing game. Those are the ones that you like the depth. Then you get into the weekend and you're like, man, I wish I didn't have to make this decision.
All year I've had a quarterback. Like the other team, I've got, you got Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford, and it's easy every week. Although last week I'm like, why didn't I play Stafford? Well, why would you? This week I'm going to play Stafford. You know why? Josh Allen's on a bye.
Yeah, there's 6 teams on a bye this weekend.
No, everybody's got bye issues this week. Everybody's got a bye issue. All right, 505-246-0610. Harold says, how important is it, JJ, for Lobo volleyball to run to the tape? They've been eliminated from the Mountain West tournament, but they still have a chance to finish as the first alternate. What does that even mean? How important is that with the chaos around San Jose State, which ramped up this week? After a couple of losses, Spartans are no longer guaranteed a first-round bye and likely will draw a club that already forfeited to them in the regular season. Could the Spartans or one of their opponents still drop out of Vegas next week, giving Coach Tom Paul Glazer a chance to punch Lobo volleyball's ticket? I assume Gloria would take the next club in line in the standings. I don't know. Look, I don't know that anybody's dropping out of that tournament. Although I will tell you, they've got an issue that I don't know what the right way to deal with it is. And JJ, last week we saw the lawsuit from female student athletes against, amongst others, the Mountain West, claiming that their First Amendment rights are being infringed upon. And at first glance, you're going, well, what do you mean? It's a freedom of speech. What are you talking about? And the issue here is, I believe it was in 2021, the Mountain West Conference, all the presidents, athletic directors, the board, agreed that if you don't play a game in whatever it is, whatever sport it is, it goes down as a forfeit. And Utah State, Boise State, Wyoming, Nevada have opted to not play against San Jose State. San Jose State has a transgender athlete. And they have been hit with a forfeit. Well, the young ladies are saying we should not be hit with a penalty for expressing our freedom of speech. By not playing it, that is a form of speech. Voicing our opinion on this issue. And we should not be hit with a penalty. And hence, they are suing the conference. And, I mean, the conference basically has to pick their lawsuit. What do they want to fight? Right? They didn't ask for this. You can say, oh, they've made a mess of this. I'd love to know how you would handle it. But if they relent on that side, they are going to get sued on the other side. On the transgender rights side, on the other side of this issue. They've got a no-win situation. I was talking to someone up at the league last week about this, just kind of learning a little bit about it. It is, from what I understand, JJ, it is a student athlete who transitioned at a young age, has had is post-op, and had been there for 3 years. I mean, evidently the student athlete has played for 3 years. In the first 2 years, nobody said a word. And it came out this year. One of her teammates found out, and I get it, man. This is passionate, and I understand the issue. But Harold, I don't know that anybody's going to drop out, and being the first alternate into the Mountain West Conference tournament is going to save your season somehow. Yeah, finish strong, play, win games. I will tell you, yeah, has that been disappointing? Has level volleyball been disappointing? Sure that has. Should they be better? I mean, I don't know. When you're losing, you should always say, yeah, we should be better. But yeah, JJ, that situation, the league did not bring this upon themselves. It's kind of crazy that it's happening to them here. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen somewhere, right? At San Jose State. And it's affected their entire athletic department.
Oh, no question.
As far as when they go on the road for football, how fan bases are treating, in some of these states, they're treating the signs, the things that are being yelled at their football team. It's going to be, I don't know how this resolves other than it expires, if that meaning the season plays out. 505-246-0610. Jerry Palm will be with us from CBS Sports. That is coming up at 8:30 this morning. Coming up next, double-digit wins. The Chiefs are favored to beat the Panthers, but let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit at 9-1. What does it mean historically as they roll through this? It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico
For 5 years running.
It's the OD in the AM with three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Thursday morning in the Boracay. Football tonight here on the Sports Animal starts your week. Browns and Steelers. You get hoops out at the pit tonight over on News Radio KKOB. Men's basketball. Lobos bounce back from the St. John's game. They will play Grambling in the pit. We'll hear from Richard Pitino coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. From his press conference yesterday. Ladies in the pit last night. Big win, 80-38 over South Carolina State. Make that very clear. We get the UNMSU thing all the time around here. People mix up New Mexico and New Mexico State.
Yes, that happens.
Yeah, I heard this morning a little South Carolina State mix up. The difference is I believe South Carolina State is an HBCU, correct? That might not be right. What league they play?
It's MEAC.
Yeah, okay, they play. Yeah, so that's an HBCU. They play in the MEAC, and South Carolina plays in the SEC, and they're the defending national champions.
Little different.
Don Staley, yeah. So UNM beat South Carolina State last night, 80-38. All right, Chiefs play this weekend, and they got an opportunity to get to their 10th win. They're favored to beat the Panthers. If they do, Andy Reid, their head coach, will have reached double-digit wins, 10 wins or more, for the 19th time in his head coaching career. Context. He'll become the third coach in the history of the NFL with 19 double-digit win seasons. The other two guys, Bill Belichick, Don Shula. They each had 20. Andy Reid, in regards to the greatest of all times when it's all said and done, right? You got Belichick, you got Lombardi, you got Shula. Then you got a list that goes, Parcells and Chuck Noll and Tom Landry. And, there's a lot of great ones. You remember what you remember, right? You're of your generation, so you know what you know. Andy Reid, when it's all said and done, and he may win one or two more, he may not win another Super Bowl. Really good at Philadelphia, beyond really good at Kansas City. When it's all said and done, is he one of the best? And one of the best, I say one of the 4 or 5 best ever.
Yes, he is.
I think so too.
Consistency, the amount of wins. Didn't do it all with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, you got the championships when he got the quarterback, but you could point at those legendary coaches and the linchpin that most of them had at some point in time playing quarterback for them. And yeah, there's guys that grew the game, helped change the game, that have legendary status, but Andy Reid is going to go down as one of the best overall too for his scheme and what he built and how good he was with Don McNabb. And Kansas City was a competitor with Alex Smith, and then they transitioned it to Patrick Mahomes and became great.
Was Donovan McNabb that good? Like, his numbers were, I understand what he was. I never, ever thought he was the guy to get you over the top. And I always felt like Andy Reid was getting more out of him than maybe he had. And I know there was a feeling in Philadelphia that Andy Reid was the reason, not Donovan McNabb, that they didn't get over the top there.
I think Don McNabb is a good quarterback that, as you laid out, it's the Dak Prescotts of the world, quarterbacks along those lines that you're never going to say they're elite, and you're always going to feel like, oh, there's something better. You want more because you come up short. But there's a lot of consistency. There's a Super Bowl appearance in there.
There was. Yeah. Look, you can go through the numbers, and if you just go by numbers, you'll go down, and whether it's Belichick, Shula, whoever. Chuck Noll was legendary. Tom Landry was great. There were great coaches that did it for a long, long time in the National Football League. Whether you can go to Hallis and Ditka and Marv Levy, but Marv Levy never got over the top. Joe Gibb, right? Mike Shanahan, really good. There have been great coaches in this league, but I think when it's all said and done, this guy's got to be in that conversation. And I don't know how you judge these things, right? I guess you just judge him flat out by how many championships. Like, I don't know if he's a better coach than Bill Parcells was. I don't. Right? The numbers will tell you, and longevity will tell you, and Parcells got out of it. I don't. All I know is this guy's pretty damn consistent. Now you're going to say, Jeff, he's got Patrick Mahomes. I'd be good with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, you might be right. And Belichick had Brady, and Lombardi had Starr. Right? Every great coach had great players. Phil Jackson had Kobe. Before that, he had Michael. Yeah. So there's a lot to that. What if Chuck Noll went 4? He had Bradshaw. Evidently, Bradshaw was pretty damn good. Right? Joe Gibb did it with a lot of different quarterbacks of Washington. Doug Williams and Mark Rippon, and holy smokes.
When you look at what Andy Reid did, so he took over in Philadelphia in 1999, coached there until 2012, had 8 10-plus win seasons, won NFC championship in 2004. Any of these guys, when you start putting out the resumes, you pick them apart. Is he really the greatest of all time? Well, I think he absolutely should be in the conversation based on longevity. And then I think with Philadelphia, you just said it. You're like, well, is Donovan McNabb really that guy? Well, no, but those teams were winning. They're in position, and it's eras too. You look at what you're going up against. Just because you didn't win a championship doesn't mean you suck or it was an absolute failure. And now that you paired him with someone like Bill Belichick had Tom Brady,
Bill Walsh had Joe Montana.
Yeah, and so now Andy Reid is a good enough coach that he lasted in the NFL that long, got the opportunities, and was finally able to have his superhero quarterback.
Yeah, and Niner fan, I didn't mean to leave out your guy. Bill Walsh needs to be in that conversation as well. Absolutely, he does. Belichick and Shula and Levy and Walsh and Noll.
Yeah, there's a lot of great coaching. I think some of them too. You can talk about what they've added to the game, scheme-wise, or what coaches these days are pulling from those guys. So I think that there's kind of different levels to greatest of all time or best coaches. Some of them might not have the wins or championship, but schematically, did they bring things to the table that changed the game and are still used today?
Yeah, I wonder which ones we're watching now. We're going to say, hey, that guy's going to go down there. I mean, I think Andy Reid. I mean, my Steeler buddies are going to get so pissed off. I mean, Tomlin. How long do you have to do it? How many do you have to win to be considered that dude? No, honestly.
Yeah, I think Tomlin is a fascinating one. Is he ever? I don't think he'll ever be viewed as like one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think he'll probably be that shelf below.
Is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, he did win 2, right? He did win 2 Super Bowls, didn't he? With Roethlisberger?
I think it was just one, right?
Was it just one? If he turns this version around, I mean, well, he has.
Was Cowher with at the end with Bettis and the rookie Roethlisberger?
That's probably right. Yeah, that's probably right. All right, 505-246-0610. Then there's the other side of Philly. When we come back, a night in the NBA, man. A night in the NBA. I don't care that LeBron's off social media. If you do, you can talk to me about it. But I don't. But I do care that there's another big injury and the Philadelphia 76ers continue to be what the Philadelphia 76ers are. We'll get into that because that's amazing at 505-246-0610. Jerry Palm coming up at 8:30 this morning. Hey, you're planning an event, whether it's a bridal reception, a wedding reception, you got a convention, a gala, holiday party, whatever it is. When you look for venues, do yourself a favor and consider the Albuquerque Convention Center. Over 600,000 square feet of flexible, beautiful indoor and outdoor meeting space right in the heart of downtown Albuquerque, in the center of it all. They will accommodate no matter what it is you're looking to do, whether it's a gigantic gala convention or it's a meeting for 20 people. They've got 2 buildings. They've got a sky bridge going over the 2nd Street right there. It's beautiful to walk through. They've got a parking garage adjacent to the facility, and they've got menus options that will accommodate whatever it is you're looking for. They will create the menu for you. Their staff goes above and beyond. You've been to events there. I know you have. And so you understand how good they are. We do, too, at the Isleta New Mexico Bowl. We host our teams there. Every Thursday of Bowl Week, we do an event there because they take care of our student-athletes, treat them the way they need to be treated, and we appreciate that. I'm a big fan of what they do over at the Albuquerque Convention Center. And if you're looking to plan an event, if you're still looking for that holiday parties venue, I'll bet they can still help you. Be at the center of it all. Check out what they're doing. It's at albuquerquecc.com. That's albuquerquecc.com. Or give them a call at 505-768-4575. Area code 505-768-4575. Albuquerque Convention Center. Be at the center of it all.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury.
Did you know the team with Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey? Did you know they've got the worst record in the NBA? It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Glad you're with us. Last night, JJ was going to be a fresh start for the Sixers. They finally had their 3 superstars on the floor at the same time. Tyrese Maxey was back from a hamstring. Joel Embiid, who's only played in 4 games, was playing. Paul George has appeared in 8 games. He was on the floor. They all were out there in the starting lineup against the Memphis Grizzlies. And then, early in the second half, Paul George hyperextended his knee, same knee that's kept him out. Then Joel Embiid went down. Dude, they are 2-11, the worst record in the league. And I don't know, is there a part of you that feels for Nick Nurse, their head coach?
How bad they are, you can go to the injuries, but it just feels like it's not going to work. And it's coming to the end for Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. You tip your cap to Joel last night because he's heard it. He's pushed back against it. He banged up his knee. He was hobbling. He finished the game. And I think a lot of people are just railing on him like he's coasting. He was sitting out because he wasn't hurt to start the season. He's playing hard. They're just not good right now.
And I said 2-11. They're 2-12. They went into the game 2-11. They are 2-12. Sole possession of the NBA's worst record. Now, over the next 9 games, they're on the road. 3 of their opponents are currently in the top 6 teams of their conference. So maybe they get a break, but I mean, who are they? You're everybody's break right now. If you're Philly, you're everybody's break. If George misses time, I don't know. I mean, can their season be done by Christmas? The odds are working against them. 6 teams have ever finished over 500 after a 2-10 start, and they're 2-12. Only 6 teams in the history of the league have finished over 500 after starting 2-10. Pelicans made the playoffs in 2022 after starting 3-16, but they have that big late season trade or mid season trade for C.J. McCollum, and they got into the play-in tournament. The East is relatively forgiving, I imagine. Last year, the number 10 seed won 36 games. They play 82, which is bonkers to me.
If they are able to get Embiid and at least Maxey on the court consistently over the next few weeks, they can climb back in because 10 teams have a chance to make
10 out of 15.
the playoffs
Yeah.
because you get into that play-in tournament and then you can make the main bracket.
Yeah. 10 out of 15. So, I mean, they're only, when you say, here we are, we played 14 games, they're only 3.5 games out of the final play-in tournament spot. It's not like anybody's totally running away with this thing. Cleveland's 16-1 at the top, but, you look at, they're in a pile with Chicago and Charlotte and Toronto and Washington and Philly. Bad teams. Bad teams. The NBA is that way, man. There's good teams, and then the bottom is just always so bad.
Even in pro sports, you're going to have those gaps. In the bottom of the leagues, you're going to have some really bad franchises.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, if you're watching the NBA, I guess that's your big story, right? I mean, unless you care that LeBron's off social media, does that do it for you? He made sure he told you that. That's how I feel too. Just like you feel. All right, I'm good with it.
We all should make decisions in our life.
Yeah.
That help us daily. And if one of those is to stay off social media, it can be a good decision.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. The Warriors, DeAnthony Melton will undergo surgery. He's done for the year. Left ACL. Is that a big deal? Because they're off to a hell of a start.
It hurts their depth.
Yeah.
Their backcourt rotation.
Yeah. They're off to
the best record in the Western Conference.
Yeah. No, which is crazy in some regards. When you talked about the Western Conference, it was going to be Oklahoma City. Well, it still will be Oklahoma City. I think Dallas, because they represented the West in the NBA Finals last year, they added Klay Thompson. I maybe you talked about the Lakers. Maybe you mentioned Denver. The top right now, and again, we're 14, 15 games in, 16 for Oklahoma City. Golden State, Oklahoma City, the Lakers. Houston is 11-5. The Nuggets and Minnesota are your top 6 teams. It's sometimes if you haven't been watching, it's like, whoa, what did I just wake up to? What the hell's going on here? Does Wemby and San Antonio make the playoffs? They're a game out of the final spot right now. Like if you said it's going to come down to Clippers, Grizzlies, Sacramento, Dallas, San Antonio, Portland for like the final 2 spots, do you think they get in? I'm gonna say I think they do.
Memphis just seems like always have someone out of the lineup because if they're able to get Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jackson all on the floor together, they should be a surefire top 10 team.
They should be.
But they just always have something else coming up with that squad. San Antonio, I think it's going to be close all year. I don't know if I'm going to say for sure, but because I like what they did is they took steps towards that this season of adding veteran guys, just getting experience, guys that played in the postseason. And Wemby got to start being that guy that alters some of the games for San Antonio. And it's also, dealing with, Greg Popovich not being there. So a lot going on.
Yep. No, it is a lot going on. And I don't know if they're going to at some point get in. All right. Lobo Hoops tonight. Grambling is in town. Grambling is 1-2. They beat Southern New Orleans. What the hell? And they lost to Ole Miss, but they lost to Ole Miss by 2. Ole Miss is the 24th ranked team in the country. They lost 66-64 to Ole Miss. And then they played 20th ranked Florida and lost 86-62. What the hell is Southern New Orleans Knights? They beat them 92-42. I mean, whatever. You start a season with a team like that. I don't know, man. It gets my attention. You played Ole Miss and lost by 2? That gets my attention a little bit.
It has to get your attention.
Shouldn't it? Grambling had a big second half rally. They got a dude named Dre Davis who scored 13 points. And they came at him hard in the second half. That's what you're getting in the pit tonight. Ole Miss had a 20-0 second half run. Right? I mean, so it's like the team you're playing tonight, don't totally look past them. Ole Miss was down 12 points in the second half to Grambling. This was Friday night last week. They used a 20-0 second half run. This was at home in Oxford. Grambling cut it to 64-63 on 2 free throws with 4 seconds left. They fouled Ole Miss's Jalen Murray. He made 2 free throws. They took a 3-point lead, and the Rebels then fouled, wouldn't let Grambling get a free throw off. They made the first and tried to get the second one, and that's how it is. let me give you this Grambling State team you're playing. Grambling has won 45 games over the past 2 seasons. 45 games, that's 22.5 wins a year. They've won a SWAC championship. They've won an NCAA tournament game. They play a hard schedule. And they're probably the favorites in the SWAC. Now, I don't know what the spread is. I could find it for you. You should beat Grambling tonight. Okay? All I'm telling you is this isn't...
Well, that's... The Ole Miss game says it all. If you go in there, start peeking ahead, players are a little bit off, then you find yourself in a game that you're not expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, the pit could get a little like, hey, they got athletes. They got players. But I'm just telling you, they went into Ole Miss, who's ranked 24th in the country, and they were within a point late in the game. They were up by 12 in the second half. What are you looking at? What's your face just do?
The spread.
Tonight, what 10.5? What is it?
Oh, the tables have turned.
What is it?
22.5.
No way.
Yes.
Lobos are 22.5 point favorites tonight?
Yes, via ESPN Bet.
That's way too much, right? If they went... Now, look, since that, okay, so they played... after they went to Grambling... Or, I'm sorry, after Grambling went to Ole Miss, they went to Florida, and they got beat 86-62. By Florida, who's number 20. All right. That's too much, man. I think the Lobos win tonight. I think they win by double digits. 22.5 feels way too thick. Don't you think? I mean, that's a chunk of points. We'll hear from Richard Pitino coming up at 9 o'clock. He met with the media yesterday, and we'll hear what he saw coming out of the St. John's game, what his team looks like throughout the week, getting them ready for a Grambling State team that comes in and has certainly played some SEC teams well. Now the Lobos get a shot at him. When we come back, Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is going to be with us. We'll catch up with him, look back at last week, look at the college football playoff scenarios and the big ones on tap this week. On the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Healthy trees can add value to your home.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
This week, coming off that big victory over 18th ranked Washington State, at Hawaii next week, win and become bowl eligible. New Mexico State on the road. They will be at Middle Tennessee, coming off their loss at Texas A&M last week. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, J.J. Buck. We go into mid to now late Thanksgiving time, late November, and just a few more weeks left in the regular season. The college football playoff rankings are out. Everybody's talking about them. We are joined by our good friend from CBS Sports, who you read every day over at CBSSports.com. Jerry Palm joins us. Good morning, Jerry. How you living? You with me?
Yeah.
Hello, Jerry.
Got me?
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, so I don't have a problem with it. Every time you have something new, right? We got rankings and then we got a bracket. And people don't understand, well, why is the rankings different than the bracket? And it's really not that hard. I kind of explained it yesterday where the rankings are like when you were in school and you had an algebra problem and you had to show your work on how you got to the answer, right? And so the rankings are the work and the bracket is the answer. You got your highest ranked champions of leagues projected to be in getting buys, and that's how it is. Boise State sitting where they are, there's a lot of talk. If BYU wins out, would they jump over them? Are there wins that are left on the table good enough to get Boise State as a champion over BYU as a champion over Boise State?
Oh, yeah, this week alone. Yeah. They're playing a newly ranked Arizona State on the road. Yeah, I mean, that's, they'll win there they'd probably jump them next week. I'm surprised they fell that far down, to be honest. It's certainly, obviously, the committee has forgotten that, BYU has handed SMU their only loss so far this season. And it's funny because apparently, I haven't gone back to look at the transcript yet, but, somebody said that Ward Manuel talked about how you're playing now matters. And recency bias has never been a thing with this committee, and certainly not the basketball committee. They're different things, with different problems in a way. But I'm not a fan of recency bias being a thing. That's a bad idea, unless there's an injury involved. That causes a change in the quality of some teams' play. But that's apparently part of why BYU fell as far as they did, because it wasn't just that they've lost, but they haven't looked good for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but they won.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Notre Dame at number 6. Do you like where they are? Their schedule has been what their schedule is. They have a bad loss, and it gets worse every week as Northern Illinois continues to lose. Yep. You good where they are?
No, not really. They should probably not be as high as Miami. The problem is, for Notre Dame, that bad loss is a pretty bad loss, but they also have a ranked win on the road.
At Texas A&M.
At Texas A&M, to start the season. So, in fact, those were back-to-back games. And Notre Dame has been otherwise pretty dominant with the rest of their schedule, and that does mean something to the committee. So I get where they are. I don't think I'd have them quite as high, but I don't think I'd have them out of the playoff high.
Jerry, everyone is asking these questions. Just how good is Team X, Y, and Z? Indiana at Ohio State. What do you make of that contest?
Well, that's where we find out how good Indiana is. They've looked good against all but Michigan on their schedule. Michigan gave them a fight. They're the only team to get within 14 points of them. Their schedule is the worst any major conference team has played maybe ever. Because prior to this year and the massive conferences that we have now, it wasn't even possible because there were too many common opponents in conference play for schedules to be, really different. A little different, of course, but, widely different, not like this. So Indiana is going to take the field against Ohio State, and that will be the first time the team on the other sideline was bowl eligible. And I mean, none of their previous 10 opponents are still bowl eligible. I mean, none of them are. So it's just remarkable that their schedule could be that bad. You'd almost have to try, but I think if you tried, you'd probably fail because you put in teams that ended up being better than you thought. So, in fact, they got teams that were probably worse than people thought. And it also speaks to the gap in the Big Ten between the top 4 and everybody else. I mean, Illinois finally crawled back in the rankings at the bottom, 25. And, that's a pretty sizable gap. So, and 3 of those 4 teams at the top don't play each other, but they all play Ohio State. So, this will be the 3rd game for Ohio State against that group. And, so it's interesting. But we find out, Saturday. how good Indiana really is.
What's the minimum they have to do? I mean, obviously they win and they stay in this thing, but if they
win, they might win the Big Ten.
Sure, right. But if they get beat, let's say they get beat in a competitive game, they get blown out. Do they fall out of the ranking? Out of the playoff? If they get beat by, I don't know, 7 points, do they stay in it? Like it's because there is style points now involved.
Oh yeah. Oh, clearly. I mean, Indiana's where they are because of style points. Because there's nothing else to put them there, right?
Well, and undefeated means something. It does.
Huh?
Undefeated means something. It does.
It does. It does mean something, but they're not number one either. they're number what, 4 or 5?
5
because they're 5 because of the fact that their schedule's been so bad.
Yeah.
So this is the litmus test. I think if they get boat raced, that's a problem for them. That would be the only scenario where they could be a threat to miss the playoffs. If they're competitive at all, even 21-point game, because Ohio State's really good, and especially on their home field. I don't think they fall all the way out. But SEC country's going to scream big time if IU isn't, more competitive than that in this game. But if it's something like, 42-3, yeah, they really got a problem.
Well, Jeff, I think, Army would definitely like your statement of undefeated matters and all this. But,
right.
Jerry, you were discussing some of the things you heard from the committee members, and as we're trying to piece this together, it's new. And whether it's how you're playing right now, I've heard so much talk about good losses. Just what are some of your takeaways from how they've ranked teams over the last couple of weeks about what they are looking at?
Well, it's the strength of schedule and how you did against your schedule. And that's the short answer. Quality wins matter. The quality of your losses matter. How much you win by or how dominant you are. I don't know that that's strictly margin of victory, but dominance matters. How much better are you than your opposition, and what's the quality of that opposition? So all of those things matter. Head-to-head has been important, and we have seen that almost every week. Head-to-head, there might be something in there where head-to-head's not been honored, but for the most part it has been. Even this week with those 4 SEC teams, they managed to do as much as they could with head-to-head. Alabama's at the top, Mississippi, and both of them beat Georgia, then Georgia, and Georgia beat Tennessee. And so, Tennessee's win over Alabama is not honored, but you can't with Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee completing a circle. You can't honor all of them. And so really the only one that stands out is that BYU fell behind SMU. That's a head-to-head thing in the top part of the ranking.
Right. JJ just brought up Army, and it's really interesting. If they beat Notre Dame, and they are big dogs to beat Notre Dame, are they a threat to Boise State? And I say that because would a win over Notre Dame rank roll better than a close loss at Oregon?
Yeah, yes, no question. I think I wrote this week, if Army does manage to beat Notre Dame, and I think that game's at Yankee Stadium.
I believe that's right.
Then that will be the highest, the biggest move up for a team in a late November ranking in the history of these rankings. They'll fly up the rankings.
How high do you think? Like to 12 above Boise State?
Yeah, maybe, sure. Their schedule's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame, you can forget the playoffs if they lose to Army. They're gone.
Well, they should be at that point,
in fact, they'll probably be ahead of Notre Dame at the very least.
Well,
right?
They beat them, right? They'd be undefeated, and they'd be a two-loss Notre Dame, and they beat them head-to-head, shouldn't they be?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. So the only thing that might hold them back still out of the playoffs is their strength of schedule is going to be horrible.
Yep.
Still, even with Notre Dame on it, it's going to be horrible.
Yep.
But I think it's second worst now, maybe only to Navy. So it's the only thing that could really keep it up. But if they actually beat Notre Dame, I think they belong in the playoff.
So you think
they have to beat Tulane as well? They have to win their league.
They'd have to beat UTSA and then win their championship game.
Oh, they still have San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah.
They got to get to 12-0.
Yeah.
Or 11-0, I guess.
Well, then they'd have to be undefeated for them to get in the playoff. Look, if they run the table, and that means beating Notre Dame, UTSA, and winning the American Championship game. The Navy game doesn't even matter because it's after the playoff is set, which is crazy, and that's a whole nother story. But so what you're saying is you believe if they run the table and Boise State runs the table, you do believe Army could jump Boise State for that group of 5 spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, they could.
All right. Jerry Palm's with us from CBS
That's
Sports.
really the only threat to Boise State.
Well, unless Boise State loses, right?
Well, right. Yeah, they're a threat to themselves, but there's no other team that's a threat.
Jerry, what do you make BYU Arizona State this weekend with that Big 12 and Colorado trying to make that push to get in there as well to the championship game?
Yeah, it's Arizona State actually I think controls their own fate in this regard.
Yes.
So I picked BYU. I just think they're going to bounce back from that loss, which is something of a wake-up call. We'll find out. Arizona State's been playing really well, maybe the best of anyone in the league, even with Colorado playing well. But Boise or BYU got to where they are by playing good football, so they're capable of it. And they've tailed off the last few weeks. They played with fire. They finally got burned, and I think it ended up being a wake-up call, and they end up beating Arizona State.
Jerry, Colorado's they're 6-1 in the league. They control their own destiny in the Big 12. Kansas on the road and Oklahoma State at home. I got to believe we're going to see Colorado in the Big 12 championship game with a chance to go play.
What's funny about that is that Kansas they were picked to be one of the favorites in the league.
Yeah, and they beat BYU.
And they were terrible for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden they've played a lot better. And the BYU thing wasn't a fluke. Kansas had been playing better and looked a lot more like the Kansas we thought we'd see in August and September. It took them until November or late October before we saw the Kansas team we saw. But this is no gimme for Colorado. Not the way Kansas has played the last month. So, they've got to take that game seriously, and I'm not going to be surprised at all if Kansas wins.
And Kansas is playing
how they've been going.
Yeah, and Kansas is playing for bowl eligibility too. They got Colorado and Baylor left, so they got something to play for too. All right, it's fun, man. Thanksgiving's next Thursday, so unless you want to move to Wednesday next week, we're off next Thursday. We can discuss.
Yeah, we can do Wednesday.
You want to do Wednesday? JJ, are we on Wednesday? All right, I'll let you know, dude.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll be in touch, but always appreciate your flexibility. Read him every day over on CBSSports.com. Follow him on the X. It's at JP Palm CBS, and you hear him every Thursday here on our show at 8:30 on the Sports Animal. Have a great weekend, my friend. If we don't talk before, have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, be well. He is Jerry Palm. The Army thing's interesting, man.
Absolutely.
Watch it. I know everybody's got Boise State in, but if Army, and I don't think they will. I don't. But I didn't think Northern Illinois was going to beat them either. Army's a 14.5-point dog at Notre Dame. I don't think they win. But if they do they jump Boise State? Is an undefeated record against a bad schedule, but they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Is that better than what Boise State did?
Yes, because I'm tired of hearing about good losses. You lost.
You lost by
lost
a
the
field.
game.
Yeah. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier. The Sports Animal.
All right, we went long with Jerry. Short segment here, 505-246-0610. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Good morning, Edward. Thanks for holding. You're on the Sports Animal.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure to hold. I'll be succinct. During the draft, the NBA draft, I said the Lakers got the steal of the draft with Dalton Net. And I think they're going to get to a point at the end of the season or as they make the playoff run. I wouldn't trust anybody except him or Reeves to handle or shoot the ball at the end of games. And I'm being honest, that guy is only going to get better and better, and I think they got the steal of the draft. On Monday, I forgot to mention, with that big Bills win, I think that their quarterback has been the best player in the league for 3 years now. And I know that Mahomes has been winning Super Bowls. I get it, and he's amazing. But the Bills quarterback is the best player in the NFL, resoundingly. This year, probably last year, and it might be 3 years running. He's asked to do everything. I quickly looked at the Steelers' schedule and who they played. Now, not everything. I think everything is something, and you play who you play. And I know they just beat the schizophrenic Ravens, but I think the Browns are going to beat them tonight. I think the Steelers, if I had to equate them to an NFC team, are about as good as Tampa or Atlanta. Quite honestly,
yeah, I got a weird feeling on Cleveland. I got a weird feeling on Cleveland tonight too.
Yeah. With you, I have no trust. Steeler fans are excited. I don't trust that organization. I no longer trust Mike games. But what's his name? Russell Wilson makes them interesting. So those are my thoughts.
Good.
Thank you for letting me share them.
No,
have a great day.
See, I got a weird feeling on Cleveland tonight, and it's only because of the trends. And Cleveland plays well against Pittsburgh, and I do I think they're a better team? I do not. Do I think but the Steelers have been living on the edge. You like Pittsburgh tonight, right? Laying the 3.5.
Not 100% there yet because short week division opponents, it can absolutely be a 17-14 game.
Yeah. Pittsburgh has totaled 3 wins in the last 5 games. So Pittsburgh's won the last 5. In the last 5 head-to-head matchup, Pittsburgh, they're close, man. They're close. All right, 505-246-0610. When we come back, we'll hear from Richard Pitino, Lobel men's basketball coach, as the Lobels get set to play Grambling tonight in the pit. We'll also hear from you at 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Your restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in
there. I'm worried about it. Yeah. I mean, did you see like the whatever the hell this thing that's going in there, like the biggest storm ever? You know, today's biggest storm ever. It's like every week we have the biggest game of the year in college football. Every one of these bomb-NATO things is the biggest one ever.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah. So maybe I play Pickens tonight. I'll worry about that later. All right, 505-246-0610. Tonight you get the Lobos at home. Grambling is in town. Grambling played top 20 Florida last week. Lost by 22 at Florida. A few days, Friday of last week, they were at Ole Miss, who's 21st in the country. Lost by 2 points. They were up by 12 in the second half. So you got a capable team coming in. Lobos are coming off of the loss at St. John's, where they lose by double digits to Madison Square Garden last Sunday, the big hyped game and everything. So Richard Pitino met with media yesterday. And first off, looking backwards, and how do you feel about what you saw from the St. John's game, and what do you have coming out of that game?
Oh, I saw a lot of positive. That was a great experience. It was a true road game. The fans that were able to travel all the way from Albuquerque to go experience that was awesome. Felt like almost like a Sweet 16 game because you're in an NBA arena. You got about 95% of their fans, and you got 5% of our fans are trying to be loud. The lights were very, very bright. That is a top 20 team. We cut it to 4. We battled. We did a lot of good things. So absolutely a lot of positives, and we'll be better from that game.
The lights were very bright. Okay. I think there were positives, and I think you get better out of that. You go across the country, you play a good team. Yeah, I think you get better. I got no. I think he's right. All right, so JJ, we're going to get into a rotation conversation. And Philip Borovichinen starts. CJ Nolan gets more playing time. I don't know that I get too deep into thinking it matters if a guy comes off the bench or if a guy starts. It's who's playing big minutes, who's playing the key time. But CJ Nolan or Philip Borovichinen? I guess that was a question that was posed to Richard Pitino yesterday.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, I think that's another positive. Obviously, I thought he did a lot of good things. St. John's is aggressive, pressure you. You got to take him off the bounce a little bit, and CJ did that. I think he's probably a little more comfortable with that than Philip is. That's why we went with it. But with that, we gave up a little size, and that obviously hurt us on the glass as well. So we'll continue to evaluate it. It's not like a quarterback situation where you have to put one on the bench. All options will be certainly available.
What do you think? Who do you like? I mean, I don't know that I think it matters.
You keep the rotation as is.
Yeah.
If CJ ends up playing more minutes, so be it. But you have to get Philip involved at some point. He's still a young player, and it's something that Mustafa Amzil talked about yesterday after Richard Pitino was just understanding that the role's bigger, so it's not going to click instantly, but giving him confidence, having him play. Because also, you can't be a starter and not be willing to attempt a shot. You're 6'9", you don't get a rebound. Like, you're here because you're supposed to be what the Lobos needed, and it was to get bigger. It was because they were so small in the backcourt, and that's why they didn't play.
Now, I do like that Borovichinen can go out to the perimeter and guards out there. I think he's long. I think what he gives you defensively on the perimeter potentially is really good. But I think you want to keep starting him. I think I'm okay with it. With the answer being probably CJ gets more minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and lead into this next one. As far as what Richard was asked, coming out of this game.
Well, so there was an interesting tone to the press conference yesterday. It was a tough loss, and I think what Richard Pitino was just trying to talk about is, yeah, they got beat, and a lot of the questions were like, what we just heard, CJ or Philip, do you have to make that change? Does it have to happen now? Do you have to play two big guys together? You're going to get beat up on the boards all the time. And, Pitino was just kind of like, pump the brakes a little bit. That was a really good team. We're frustrated, but we're not going overboard after that loss.
All right. And here's what he said to that.
Brand, happy I played the game. I thought it was awesome for our brand. the exposure that the game brought us to be on national TV on a Sunday, a great crowd in Madison Square Garden. We're all good. So, you certainly learn from it. Like, you don't go there, treating it like it's no big deal, but you got to have a good dose of perspective, too, to not totally panic either.
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, so you learn don't panic from that.
There's a lot of questions about just being small, guys not playing well, this or that. And, yeah, we all saw that. They got beat up. They got pushed around. But I think from Richard Pitino was trying to say is there is things you learn from that game, even if you didn't play well.
All right. Nerves. You got a team that's relatively new together. Look, I thought when they played UCLA, and I'm not going to pretend that was Madison Square Garden. That was a small arena in Henderson, Nevada, but it was still a brand. It was a big game. It was one of those where, wow, you had it circled. Now, Madison Square Garden, New York City, yeah, the setting ups the ante a bit. We'll see by the end of the year who's better, St. John's or UCLA. I'm not sure I know. St. John's looks better now. But he talked about guys handling nerves in these situations, going into big games, because there's going to be a bunch. And how did they handle their nerves?
It felt like a big game. And it's only, our fourth game, but it just had that feel, whether it was the buildup of me versus my dad, Madison Square Garden. The Lobos hadn't been there in a long time. You felt the energy from their fans. You felt St. John's respected us because we had beaten UCLA. Like, I think the players knew that they needed to bring it. So it's a great experience for all those guys. Cade, Phillip, Sacco, guys who may not have played a bunch, and now all of a sudden we throw them into the fire. So it'll only make them better. I told them during film yesterday, like, I've been lucky to be in some Sweet 16s. That's what it felt like. We've never in the history of our program been there, but, we've got big goals for our program like everybody else does.
Yeah. And how do you solve those nerves? How do you learn? You do it. Right? You do it.
Yeah, and I think everything that Richard Pitino is saying about it is correct. It was a big-time opportunity. That's what you want to see. You got, which essentially is a true road game. You don't see a lot of those in college basketball to have that experience. That is one that should bode very well for this team moving forward.
All right. Then there's Donovan Dent, and he's going to be the key to everything you do, right? He is going to be the key to what you do. He's got a lingering knee issue. We saw it. His leg was wrapped when they played the opener. It was not wrapped when they played in Vegas, and he went down with that knee. And I'm just, like JJ, I was in the building. I saw the faces. Richard Pitino's whole demeanor changed. When Donnie came out of the locker room with his knee wrapped, and Richard looked back and he caught his eye, they had eye contact, and you ready to go, and he went back in the game and made the difference. Getting Donovan Dent healthy, getting him going is going to be vital.
I don't think we're going to play a lot of teams with that talent that are going to have the ability to do what they did. We need Donovan to get 100% healthy so that he can play with a little bit more pace, a little bit more pop. He was kind of laboring through that game a little bit. A lot of it was St. John's, but a lot of it is we got to get him 100% as well.
Yeah, and how do you do that, right? I mean, I don't know what the injury is.
Yeah, that's one that when you watch Donovan Dent play, doesn't look super hampered, but there's times where you notice it, like if he gets banged up, he tweaked exactly this scenario that you were discussing against UCLA. This doesn't sound like something you're going to be able to get through in a season. Unless, like, you sit him down.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, it's going to be there.
It sounds like it's going to linger, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. That's how to get here. Lobos and Grambling tonight. You can get in on that. I got this just came out 18 hours. Well, all right, we were talking about the volleyball thing a little bit. The league has come out with a statement on what happens if everybody forfeits in the volleyball. I don't think everybody will, but what happens? We can get there. Got a lot of NFL stuff for you still to get through as well. 505-246-0610 and unanimous winner for the American League Cy Young, and they got it right. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows.
Grambling. Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green, 6:30 pregame show and a 7 o'clock tip out of University Arena. All right, JJ, there's a hearing in Denver today in court in regards to the volleyball, the Mountain West volleyball and San Jose State's volleyball team. And we may get some direction, I imagine, in regards to what happens with Blair Fleming, the alleged transgender player for San Jose State, and the forfeits. So, and this has become a heated national controversy, and you've seen it on whatever outlets you might get your news from. Conference tournament is next week. It starts November 27th in Las Vegas. The Mountain West Conference has said that they are planning, in the event that teams refuse to face San Jose State, if a team does not play a scheduled match, they forfeit that match. It's been league policy. That's been the way they've gone. And the conference has recognized that it could get to a conference championship game, and if the team, whomever it happens to be, doesn't play San Jose State, the automatic bid in the Mountain West Conference to the NCAA tournament would be granted to San Jose State. Quote from the Mountain West Conference: if we get to a championship game and it's San Jose State versus whoever, if that institution forfeits the game, then San Jose State wins the match, and they are the tournament champions, and they would be the automatic qualifier out of the Mountain West. Okay? There is a hearing today, an emergency hearing that has been scheduled in Denver. A judge in Denver will determine whether to grant an injunction which would disqualify San Jose State from competing in the conference tournament, or disqualify Blair Fleming from competing in the conference tournament, and I guess that's all remove losses from the records of teams who protested by not competing at San Jose State. The league has acknowledged that they might have to change their plan, discard their plan, pending the outcome of this hearing. So San Jose State, I believe, would still get those wins, but certainly the losses would be expunged from the records of the teams who forfeited. So you'll hear something today in regards to this. And I know, this is a hot button issue. This is a really, really, really sensitive issue, and I understand it. It's going to hit the courts today, JJ, Denver.
Yeah, I don't think that last option does anything for anyone.
Which is expunging the losses?
Yeah, because are you going to play them or not?
All right, what about moving forward? Yeah, what about moving forward? Yeah. It's really a fair question, and I don't know the answer. So you can get in on that if you want, 505-246-0610. Emails, Bruce said, smooth Jerry's guys equal to the Dallas Cowboys. Jeff, why do we have to watch Purdue on TV every week? The Boiler Stinkers are in another high-profile slot this weekend. They're the Dallas Cowboys without the intrigue. Dude, every game's on TV. The Lobos are on TV every week. Every game's on freaking TV, man. You can find them on FS1 or CBS Sportsnet or ESPN Plus or Big Ten Network. Every game's on TV. Dan says, if you've already forfeited to San Jose State, in the case of some of these clubs, twice in the regular season, then why is it suddenly okay to play them in the Mountain West Conference tournament just because all 6 clubs need the auto bid? No one in your league is going to receive at-large consideration this year. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, dude. I don't know. Gopher wants to talk about women's soccer. You in, JJ? Jeff, because Heather Dyke's gals were eliminated, some listeners still want to know how your league fared. So Gopher looked it up, found that Utah State won the auto bid, received a number 8 and home game against UW. UTAG's lost in a heartbreaker on PKs. Did you know that? I'm not sure I did. So there you go.
Good update.
Appreciate the update. Hey, on the soccer stuff, what did you hear in regards to Eric Quill, United's head coach, leaving yesterday, taking the job at FC Dallas? I mean, obviously a great move for him, a no-brainer for him. You go to Major League Soccer. It's a promotion. It's the highest level of soccer in your country. You've got an opportunity to be that. I mean, there's no controversy. But just as far as internally, I know that they were really hoping he came back because they felt that he was as vital in that culture that he created as anything, including attracting players to the run that they had this year to be the number 1 team in the Western Conference.
Well, there's no question the impact that he had. They've had good moments, but they had their best season of their young existence under Eric Quill and what he did managing the team. First place in the Western Conference. As you mentioned, some of the players he was able to attract, but the reality is it's not a forever position. It's not a forever job for coaches, and players that have good talent are going to be striving for the next level. The next level in the United States is Major League Soccer.
And that's where it goes, and it's a no-brainer. How easily is that replaced? And I say that because I don't know that level. I honestly don't know that world. And so...
I don't think it's easy to replace the coach that was able to, in a year and a half, take you from battling for a playoff position to first place in the conference.
Do you stay inside the organization? I know they've got assistants who would love to move
I don't think
up.
they do that.
You don't?
Especially after they did that after Troy Lesane.
And it didn't work. Yeah.
So
with Zach
Prince.
Well, 2 of their 3 coaches in the history of the program, or the organization, or the club, as they like to say, are head coaches in MLS. Troy Lesane at Washington, and now Eric Quilla is the head man at FC Dallas. And this is one of the owners texted me yesterday. We must be doing something right. I'm like, yeah, you obviously are doing quite a bit right. Yeah, that's really good. All right, Terry sent me a text. Golf, the match superstars on TNT tonight. Can't be any worse than Tyson Paul. What do I get on TNT tonight? I get a made-for-TV golf. I honestly didn't even know that, and I can't find it anywhere. Did you know anything about some made-for-TV golf thing on TNT tonight? And if so, who do I get to watch?
It's The Match.
What is it?
The Match. TNT Sports.
Who's in The Match? Like, is it Brady and Manning? Is it Tiger and Phil? Is it...
I think it's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And others.
And others. Is it all right if I miss that? I got Lobo basketball.
Can't miss that.
I am. I got Lobo basketball, and I got Monday night or Thursday night football tonight.
Golf 24/7, 365.
I kind of do like that. Don't get me wrong. I stopped on some golf yesterday. I did watch some European something yesterday, just for a minute. It's going to be 60 degrees tomorrow, and it's a Friday. Now it's a really busy time of year for me, but I mean, how many more 60-degree Friday afternoons am I going to get?
Not many.
You know what I'm trying to say?
It's just, that feels good.
Yeah. I get on ESPNU tonight the Charleston Classic, the Shriners Charleston Classic. I get Vanderbilt, Nevada. Doesn't that interest you a touch? Vandy and Nevada? Steve Alford against Diego Pavia? What? That doesn't interest you just a little bit?
Diego Pavia, point guard?
Yes. Nevada's a 2.5-point favorite over an SEC team tonight in South Carolina. And that's kind of a big deal. I like that tonight. Also in the Mountain West tonight, you get Grambling in New Mexico. Lobos are 22.5-point favorites. And Air Force on the road at the Cal Classic in Berkeley. They will play Cal. Last night, Mountain West, UNLV as a winner over Pepperdine, 80-59. That was at home. Brooklyn Hicks scored 16 points off the bench for the Rebels. Fresno State, 94. Prairie View A&M, 83. Fresno State wins at the, I believe that was at home in the Acrisure Holiday Invitational. Morseck scored 18 for them. And USC handled San Jose State. 82-68 was the number. That was at the Galen Center. San Jose State falls to 1-5. They may be really not good this year, Tim Miles' team. They may be struggling. They're 1-5. You say, well, whatever, Jeff. They lost to SC. Yeah. Their one win was against Life Pacific. They lost to Western Illinois, Pacific, Hawaii, and UC Santa Barbara. Not the easiest schedule, but certainly not Murderer's Row. They get UTEP, Greensboro, Long Beach State, and then New Mexico coming up here in the next few weeks. All right, 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com and JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Dak Prescott's out for the season. How does he assess how he played before his injury? It might tell you a lot about why the Cowboys are where they are. I'll let you know how that is and what he said next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
What's going on?
Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
And that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres.
They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area.
End quote, Dak Prescott. Well, yeah, you're mentally in a good place because you're set. I mean, I don't know. I've never had 4 years, $240 million coming my way. I'm going to guess that would help your mental state of mind a little bit, right? And it sucks because he didn't play well. He's convinced, and he should be, because you should have confidence in yourself and confidence in your abilities, confidence in what you're going to be able to do. But he's that dude. And he's got the numbers in some respects to prove it certainly to himself. With all the noise flying around there, with all the Shedeur Sanders noise and the Deion Sanders noise, and you bench him, and so what? You eat the contract. Shedeur's better. I'm not convinced Shedeur's a better pro than Dak Prescott. Maybe he is. I'm not convinced. Are you?
Shedeur is trending towards the top of this class, but he's not generational rated number one overall pick.
Well, if you ask his daddy.
Okay. And to Cowboy fan that would love to see that happen, how are you then taking advantage of rookie contracts? Isn't that why so many people scream about wanting to go with a rookie quarterback, not just because of the upside and the talent, but you get the rookie contract? You're wasting, 2 or 3 years of that trying to figure out the salary cap mess of not having Dak Prescott as your starting quarterback.
Can Dak be your backup?
Him money. You're not. How are you going to get better?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm just trying to figure out.
So you already have to navigate the cap now with a quarterback making $240 million, figuring out what other franchise pieces you want to pay to that level, and then navigate that world. And then you're telling me, well, the best thing would be to bring in Deion Sanders and then draft Shedeur and have a $240 million backup quarterback. Well, even if Dak Prescott's not there, you still have to eat some of that money. So then how are you taking advantage of that rookie quarterback? Because then 2-3 years down the line, is the team any good? Or if they're good, well, then guess what? All this time that you're supposed to be paying other players under rookie contract, you had to deal with Dak. And now Shedeur Sanders, after 3 years, is saying, you know what? I played pretty good. Pay me. So where are you at?
Yeah, look. All of that is absolutely right. You got people. I was listening to Colin Cowherd yesterday. It doesn't matter. The Broncos did it with Russ. The Cowboys can eat it with Dak Prescott, can they? They haven't even started. They've got 4 years in front of them on this contract. You can pay him to go away. Look, is there going to be a market for Dak? Yeah, there'll be a market for Dak, but not at that number.
Yeah, and what Bo Nix is doing is awesome this year. But the Broncos didn't get rid of Russell Wilson and then add a bunch of pieces. They just drafted Bo Nix, and they kept their fingers crossed that we'll find a way. And Cortland Sutton's been good, but no one can name me the second receiver on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I think Cowboy fan is saying, well, why can't we do that? I mean, so we got CeeDee Lamb. Why can't we just cut ties with Dak? And Shedeur's better than Bo Nix, and so Shedeur will be that guy. And okay, so we eat some cap money, but we're pretty. But have you seen how bad you are on the line? Have you seen how bad you are defensively? Go look at your scores. Go look what you're doing. Like Shedeur may or may not be good. Here's what you give up every week: 34, 27, 30. 47. I mean, you want me to keep going? This is what you're giving up every week. Now, the Broncos have a really good defense. I don't know if you expected it to be that good, but damn, they've been good, dude. But that's what I'm hearing. Well, hell, the Broncos did it. They ate the cap hit. They realized, but they knew this wasn't their guy, so they got rid of Russ and they moved on.
Yeah, at some point, you have to make that decision. I don't think there's any way where I see positive upside of making that decision before the contract even kicks in for Dak Prescott.
There is a chance the Cowboys play themselves into that number one pick. There really is. They are horrible. They've won 3 games. I don't know. You think they're going to beat the Giants and the Panthers? Okay. Maybe they won't. Other than that, they got the Bengals, the Buccaneers, the Eagles, and the Commanders twice. I mean, is this a 5-win, 4-win team? Do they win another game?
Do the Giants win another game?
Well, somebody's going to win next week. I mean, what
is
of them
that
are going to win a
legit game where behind the scenes the battle is the owner wanting to see their team lose?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them is going to win a game next week, right? I mean, I think one of them should win a game.
It's for the Giants, like at the Cowboys, like, all right, it's Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush. Anything can absolutely happen.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Other than that, you're saying you're playing the Buccaneers, the Saints, Ravens, Falcons, Colts, Eagles, and you're picking all those teams over the Giants.
Where are you getting them? So they may end up with, first, second, third pick. Yeah. Yeah, and then the whole temptation of their Shador. I just signed my quarterback to a $240 million 4-year extension that hasn't even kicked in yet. By the way, my defense has been god-awful. My line is bad. I have no running game. But you're telling me I should go draft another quarterback. No, what I'm telling you is you should have signed this quarterback to a $240 million deal. That's what I was telling you the whole time. I know, and you were right. All your points are absolutely valid.
I can't defend the way the Cowboys played. Like it's the great money that you're dealing with for good quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. It's an issue. Like, can Dak Prescott be a starting quarterback in this league? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And if he was a free agent, and if they didn't sign him, he'd go on the market and make $60 million somewhere next year. He would.
But you have to take into account what has happened and then what that means for the future. And it doesn't feel good if you're a Cowboys fan looking at Dak and that contract versus what the rest of that team has become. I think a lot of the Shador stuff isn't necessarily because I think that there's hype, of course, with him that people think he is that much better than he is. He's a good quarterback. I don't think this is, coming in and changing your franchise right away. But I think what people believe is, well, if you get Shador, that means Deion's there. And I think that's what's really pushing
people absolutely believe
that conversation. It's not just, Shador is going to make Dallas awesome. It's, well, you're getting the Sanders.
Yeah, so you're getting a package deal. Yeah, people absolutely believe that. Rod said Alice Cowboys. Remember during COVID, I was calling them the Alice Cowboys because there is no D. He says there is no big D in Dallas this year, Jefferson. They're the Alice Cowboys. That's what I've called them that for a long time. Omar's in on the Cowboys. Jeff, it's so hard to issue a big line, but 10 points at RFK feels light to me. Yeah, kind of does. Mike said, I just heard Bob Alou issue an apology for saying earlier this morning Lady Lobos had beaten South Carolina, Jeff Alou. He also admitted his Aggies suck. Jason and Jerome's team. Where are you guys? It's from Mike. It was coming in. I did have to correct him on that. It's like, there's difference between New Mexico and New Mexico State. There's a difference between South Carolina and South Carolina State. Lobos beat South Carolina State last night. South Carolina, JJ is the defending national champions, right? In women's basketball. I mean, there's a slight difference. 505-246-0610. This is just in this morning. Luka Doncic, Dallas Mavericks, wrist strain, out for at least a week. He'll be reevaluated in a week. He'll miss games against the Nuggets, the Heat, the Hawks, the Knicks. Tried to downplay it afterwards, said it was nothing serious. He's averaging 28-plus points a game. I mean, he's Luka Doncic. So yesterday, Luka Doncic, Paul George, and maybe Joel Embiid gone down for a while. I mean, guys go down more in the NBA than in the NFL, huh? in a what's considered non-contact sport, although it is a contact sport. It's just, football's a collision sport. Basketball's a contact sport. But dudes are going down quick in the NBA. All right, 505-246-0610. When we come back, everything you got to know as you go through your Thursday. All the breaking news from this morning as well. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-0000 9543. Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
All right, what you got to know as you go through your Thursday. Lobos were home tonight, men's basketball. Grambling is in the pit. Grambling's 1-2. They lost to Florida, 20th ranked Florida, by 22 the other day. Before that, they were at Ole Miss, who was ranked 21st, and they lost by 2. They were up by 12 in the second half. So a test tonight, but a test they should pass their 22.5-point favorites, which seems just chunky. Lobo women last night, winners at home, 80-38 over South Carolina State. Next up, Gonzaga in the pit. Gino Auriemma, the UConn women's coach, became the winningest coach in the history of college basketball. Tarek Skubal won the American League Cy Young. The Tigers ace was a unanimous decision. Tonight, you get Thursday Night Football here on The Sports Animal. Steelers and Browns. JJ, weather's an issue. So if you were going to play your Browns or your Steelers, a mix of rain and snow expected at 3 o'clock their time. Cloudy conditions. Few showers expected to begin at 3, increasing to light rain at 4, moving to snow by 5. Mixed conditions of rain and snow at 6. Snow and rain will continue until 1 a.m. on Friday, so expect weather for the entirety of the game. Slippery conditions. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. I'm just saying. Not looking to be a weather guy, but I am. I did check the Seattle weather, by the way. 49 and rainy for the game on Sunday.
Doesn't seem too bad because it's light winds, so it sounds like it's not bomb cyclone.
Yeah, bomb cyclones now. Good morning. Quieter morning, as we say, unsettled through the weekend as a pair of storms over the Pacific rotate around each other. Okay. Right. But that's the forecast. 48. Partly sunny with rain, 60% chance. I think I take my chances there, don't you? I think I go more Metcalf and Pickens. Or do you like Smith and Jigba instead? Who's the better?
So Smith and Jigba or Metcalf or George Pickens.
Yeah, well, or I could pull Kelsey out, but I like Kelsey because I'm not moving Amon-Ra.
It's at this point with the way Smith and Jigba has played the last couple of weeks. It's a coin flip with DK Metcalf because they're both getting peppered with targets from Geno Smith. Yeah. And early in the season, it was easy. Yeah, go with DK. But 10 for 100 last week.
I know.
Smith and Jigba.
I saw him sitting on waivers in a league. Good. Picked him up on Sunday morning in one league. I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's $13 against my cap. I mean. All right. Luka Doncic is out for at least a week. He's got a wrist issue. Paul George went out with a knee issue yesterday. So, Garcia says, have you seen the resale market for Thanksgiving Day tickets, Giants and Cowboys, Jeff? No, I've not. Let's just say it looks like a lot of empty seats, the Cowboys Stadium. No, I've not. You see what, jump on there because that tends to be one of the biggest tickets, right? Tickets as low as $32 to go see a game, the Cowboys. Yeah. Wow. I mean, like you can sit 30-yard line lower section for $298. You don't see that at that stadium a lot. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't win, JJ. People tend to not show up as much. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't happen.
It's crazy how that works. All right, what do you like tonight? 22 points really seems thick, don't you think, with the Lobos? I think they win. I think they win by double digits. But I think it's one of those games where you got an athletic team, a team with good score comes in Grambling, good test. Maybe they stick around for a minute. Lobos win by 12.
Feels kind of Corpus Christi-like.
Okay.
Or Nichols-like.
I think more Nichols. Don't you?
22.5 is a big number. I think they win by double digits. But 23, 24 points.
I mean, again, a team that just was down at Ole Miss. And when I tell you Ole Miss was ranked, I mean, it was pretty high, right? So you get that. All right, what else didn't I not hit on here? Jared Goff with a perfect passer. God, see, he had the one game of 5 interceptions. Wow, he's not the MVP anymore. Remember what I said? I'm going to take the sample size of 8 or 9 over the sample size of 1. Jared Goff, perfect passer rating again in their win over the Jaguars, 52-6. They scored touchdowns on their first 7 possessions. Goff, Wednesday, quote, none of this is easy. Really? It takes a lot of hard work to keep playing at that level. End quote. He's been really good, dude. When you start having MVP conversations, don't you have to have a conversation about the quarterback on the team that's the best? And they are one of the 3 best.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I don't know if you like him over Allen or Lamar or whomever. I like him over Lamar this year. I do. I know what numbers are. And his numbers are damn good except for one game. He said, we know what our potential can be, so it becomes a waste if you're not trying to reach for perfection. Strive for that. It's never really attainable. Why are you going for, but we got a group of guys that are so dang talented and are such hard workers, we want that greatness, end quote. I don't know who I vote for right now. Like, I don't know who your MVP is, whether it's Allen or Lamar's not my guy, with all due respect.
Because they've lost 4 games?
Yeah, and that matters. Yeah, he's been really good. His numbers are really good.
He has like almost 400 more yards passing than Goff. 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
29 is really good when you're 8-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I firmly believe, and I told you this earlier, that if it's close, I do believe there's going to be a little bit of fatigue to give the same guy the MVP again. I just do.
Because that happens in every sport.
I mean, that's why LeBron didn't win 15 of them. That's why other dudes win them.
Great players.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look at it now, is there anybody to me who's just absolutely the guy this year? No. I mean, Jaden Daniels was in the conversation 2 weeks ago. Then they lost 2 in a row. Josh Allen's probably your front runner. I maybe. Although Lamar Jackson will be right there. I mean, if you want to just go on numbers, look at Joe Burrow's numbers. How did Joe Burrow's numbers compare to Lamar Jackson's?
Joe Burrow's, stats-wise, has more passing yards and touchdowns than anyone in the NFL.
Yeah, what's his record, 4-7?
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody saying he should be MVP?
Nope.
I mean, so winning matters. But you had the best line of the day, though. I mean, when I said undefeated matters, and you said, what about Army? You're right. Except for they got to play someone, don't they? I mean, at least the bad schedule Indiana's playing was a bad Big Ten schedule as opposed to a bad American schedule. Rice, Tulsa, right? If Army beats Notre Dame this weekend, dude, it shakes everything up. And Boise State, if you're a Mountain West or a Boise State fan, you're a Notre Dame fan this weekend. Don't you think? I mean, Jerry Palm was with us, and he said he believes if Army beats Notre Dame, they leapfrog over Boise State for that group of 5 spot. And so the Broncos could be sitting there 1 week getting a bye in the playoff. This is absolutely possible. 1 week on Tuesday, you're sitting there and you have a bye in the first round of the playoff. You win, you beat Wyoming and Laramie, so you didn't do anything wrong, and you're out of the playoff the next week. That's really possible. System screwed.
And it would be because they're in the Mountain West. So that would go along very well with their narrative to continue to kick dirt on everyone why they are going to the Pac-12.
So you think if they, well, you don't, but if they think that if they were in the Pac-12, which, by the way, they'd play the same flipping schedule. When they go to the Pac-12, they're
and this is one where I don't. It's not totally far-fetched because narratives matter. Like on it, Texas has no business being a third-ranked team.
I agree with you on Texas.
If you want to talk about schedules and who you've beaten and who's beaten you,
Boise State played Washington State, Utah State, San Diego State, Oregon State. They're all going with them to the new Pac. Enjoy it. Thank you to Jerry Palm for being with us today. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On's in at 4. Global Basketball is over on News Radio KKOB. That will be at 6:30. We're back tomorrow morning. With award-winning radio, we will begin at 7 a.m. Adrian looks great on the TV side. Big day for you. You get some rest today?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Hey, be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We will smell you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this